Welcome back, friends, to EU League. It's time for our 4th out of 5 matches to begin. Heroic versus Rogue. We know Heroic already qualified for the May Major in only a couple weeks in Charlotte, North Carolina. Reminder, only a few tickets still remain, almost completely sold out. So if you're planning to go somewhere in a couple weeks, especially if you live in the US, probably a bit easier for you. This is the time for it. It's the first event we've had with an audience in over 2 years. An incredible amount of time since SI 2020. But Rogue can actually join in on the 4 European teams that will make it to that major, and all they need is a full victory. 3 points is all they need to get across the line. If not, then it might be G2 that actually make it through. So free to no more. Is the big question. Let's talk about Heroic real quick. We know they're number 1. They're the best right now. How they look?
I mean, there's not much to talk about other than they have basically had a perfect stage. They had the hiccup against Na'Vi, and then after that, it's just been a roll, and they keep on performing. Their attacks have been, to me, what really takes them across the line. But one thing I think we never really talk about is actually their defenses too. Yeah, they have 61 and 60% in their win rates on the different sides. But the thing is, with this current meta, a lot of teams have gotten their attacks to be quite a lot better. So that they have a high defense win rate shows quite a lot as well. They have kind of got the perfect team setup right now when it comes to the players and the roles that they're fulfilling. Uno is pulling the players around, the entry fraggers, like their little dogs in leashes, and then he just makes them play the perfect entry game together with a really good preparation on their drones, and just overall having good adaptations in the middle of them.
I think they're the most well-rounded team in the league. And you talked about their defense, but also their attacks, their drone networks, how they know exactly what they want to do in every single round, and they execute it more often than not. And plus then you've got Sloth, you've got Benja, you've got Gorgona, who's been having a great stage. You've got all of them on top of it that are individually performing, you know, above and beyond. Makes for a great recipe.
Uno was the perfect player that they needed. Somebody to pull everybody together. And Uno has always been that player.
So Uno is very good at doing just that, right? But I think that there's some things that people don't know about too much, and a player that they underrate in Heroic is actually Gorgona. He is a very good shot caller. So the thing is, they had a good shot caller before, so they always had Gorgona, right? But the problem was Anarchic didn't really he didn't keep up in the fragging department, and that's why he's no longer part of it. He's a very smart and talented strategical person, just not good enough in the mechanical part to be an EUL player. Now they have a player that is mechanically talented enough to be an EUL player, on top of someone who has all the good strats and the good shot calling. They just have a very good team.
Of course, Anarchic has moved to support staff within the team itself, so helping out from kind of the back rooms. But what about Rogue on the other side? Jack, they're playing for all the marbles here.
They're playing for absolutely everything. They'll have been watching that G2 game, knowing that they can now win and not just qualify themselves for the major, but boot out G2 in the running as well. That is all the motivation you need. You know, Citizen and Leon, they like to have a little bit of back and forth, so they'll be more than motivated, I tell you that. They've had a bit of a, you called it a hiccup for Heroic in that one game. Rogue have had a little bit more than that. They lost the 2 games that they should have won against M&M and against Outsiders there, and realistically it was all going so well until then. Unfortunately, they've had a dip in form. I'm not sure whether it correlates. We said they've not been scrimming too much because Crime was sick, etc. Maybe there's a bit of a correlation there. But overall, I think they've already been above and beyond initial expectations for this stage, but they're that close that they can taste the major. If they don't make it, it will be a disappointment.
Yeah, like in my notes, I've written something that's quite heavy. They've shit the bed, literally. They have started playing poorly the last 2 play days, and it's kind of, Kryn has been sick, as we said. So he has had 2 rough games where he haven't been performing. At the same time, Rips have actually stepped up and done a lot better than he normally does. So I think that if Kryn now is recovered from COVID, and then Rips keeps performing the way that he been doing the last 2 play days, it actually is looking quite positive for Rogue. Heroic has nothing to play this game for. They already have the first spot. They can't go off it. Exactly. The only thing they play for now is, I guess, the pride of not losing, but that's it.
What Heroic would like to do is to not expose maps that they have not played before. So the map pool is going to be more important than you think it is in preparation for Charlotte. Got a 9-map pool, 8 are out, 1 is left. And what will it be is the question. We are going to head to Chalet as Bank has been taken out by Rogue. Defense starting side for Rogue. So Rogue's opted for the attack Jack.
I wasn't necessarily expecting this, but I understand why. So if you're Heroic, you want to go to a map that you've shown before. Heroic played this map. It's their least preference map. I'm just going to start by saying that. It's their least preference map, but they did play it. I want to say it was against Secret. So they have already played it, and that's what they're going to do, is they're going to go to a map that they've already played. Rogue traditionally have enjoyed playing this map, but they've not played at this stage.
Chalet as well is like, now we see Rogue starting on defense. We've seen a lot of TAC wins recently in competitive Siege when it comes to Chalet. Rogue might actually be going down, like we're looking at the 4-2, 5-2 even at that point, and it could be a really stressful situation for them. So it's going to be really up to Rogue to show that they've got what it takes in defense to grab. If they grab 3 defenses, if they grab 4 defenses, I can almost guarantee that Rogue goes through. But you never know. It's the TAC favorite map.
Correction, Heroic beat BDS on that map 7-5. But they didn't look convincing that day, if I remember rightly. It was a bit iffy on Chalet.
So an oddity for today. Maybe Heroic can take it. They definitely have shown that they're not a team that, hey, even if they're qualified, they're going to downplay the kind of efficiency or the strength of this sort of matchup that they have against Rogue. But Rogue are playing for all the marbles, like we said. Should Rogue lose, especially in regulation, it's G2 that make it through. It's a lot of motivation for Leon, so let's see how it goes. Thank you very much, Fresh and Fabian. Let's toss it then to our casters. We got Asa and Dez. Take it away, Heroic Rogue.
Thank you very much, Milos and the Dex. We've been dying, sat here with the biggest shit-eating grins on our face that you could ever imagine. Trolling through Twitter, Twitch chat, because this is the story that we all wanted to come to today. Rogue, G2, only one goes to the major and Rogue win in regulation. They have done it, and you just know the timeline is going to be on fire if it comes down to that.
This is it. Yes. This is it. This is what stage 1 shapes up for. This is now the final piece of the puzzle. This is for all the marbles. There's Heroic versus Rogue, and we will have a decider at the end of this as to exactly who that final team is going to the Charlotte Major, how the league shapes up. This is what it all comes down to. For Rogue now, ups and downs. They've had some great games this season. They then lost a couple of important ones towards the end. This is now the only one that matters.
It's been an absolute bottle job in the last couple of play days, Tim. It's not gone the way.
The thing is, like now, it doesn't
matter.
It doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter what the score is. I cannot make it any simpler for you. 3 points, you go to the major. No points, 1 point, 2 points, you don't.
What concerns me is form. That is the thing that always makes me nervous coming into big games like this. We said it about G2, a 7-5 against Secret last week, a game that should not have come that close, but did, was a good indicator of the form they were coming into this final Playday with. I'm hoping for Rogue that they really had something to jumble up the mustard on their side, because this is where they've got to go big. Bans have flown their way through.
Jaeger.
Seen a couple of spicy ones. Finker and the Jaeger coming out from Rogue there as well. They're really going for it. And Tim, you know what I'm like. I love stirring stuff up sometimes, but in the DMs to a couple of Rogue staff and players so far saying, go on then, boys. What's going on here? And so far it's been, look, strats out the window. We're going for this and we're deadly serious. This is going to be a game where they come out with nothing but pace and aggression. Think back to the Rogue that we saw in Stage 3 of 2021. The team that would bring no hard breaches when attacking on Villa and would just rush at you on site and you could do nothing about it. You're going to see a Rogue here that is raring to get that spot at the Charlotte Major. But the thing is, you have got the Titans of Heroic stood in your way. That is such a horrific team to have to face on the last Playday, but you wouldn't have it any other way.
I'm going to get you a chef's hat.
Oh, come on!
I'm going to get you a chef's hat, I think. There's always ready to stir the pot on the timeline.
Got the frying pan ready.
Always ready to add a little bit of spice, a little bit of seasoning.
Sprinkle. Absolutely love it. Well, Quick Riho's coming in just to delay you a little bit longer. Just to whet the appetite. Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it.
If this goes to 5-0, I don't think I can handle it. I'm going to warn you now.
Oh, that's the part. Just remembering as well, it's not like Heroic have to win. They just have to get to 6. If they get to 6, it's done. And we simply need to see Rogue get to 7 first. Yep. We've got to see Rogue.
Simple as
that.
Rogue needs to hit 7. Simple as that.
I like
Nothing
that.
else. They just need to get 7 rounds.
There's no like, oh, this score means that. No. Score means this.
7 rounds for Rogue. Done.
Yep. Love it.
If they don't get 7, or if it's 8-7, forget it. Not done.
Simple and clean. The way that it's making me feel tonight. Very few people will know that one, and I'm proud of it.
I'm
We will be back in just a
glad you're
minute.
proud of it, Dave. You know, I'm proud of you. I'm happy for you.
I appreciate it, mate. Thank you. Thank you.
No problem. I've always got you back.
We will get back in just a moment, as you can see. A couple of things going on here to get corrected before we're back into it. Can't have anything being even slightly off kilter here, Tim. It's all got to be absolutely perfect before we dive in. Chalet itself, a map that you and I have had many a good memory on there. It was the birth of the famous Laser Gates when it first came out.
Was indeed.
It was
Quite
indeed.
right.
We've had some fantastic games this stage. Think about, for example, G2 versus Secret, a wonderful example last week. Keenan's 4K post-plant clutch in round 1.
Yep.
We've had some wonderful games on here recently.
The thing that, when I look at this matchup on Chalet, it was mentioned on desk. It was something that I wanted to say as well. I feel like Rogue coming in here on defense of Chalet, it's like they're setting this. It's like they've just set it onto hard mode. It's like, how can we make this more difficult? Right, we're going to start Chalet on defense. We know the attackers like Chalet. It's not going to be an easy start for them, and they might find themselves in a situation where they really have to dig in and battle back here.
I tweeted about this earlier on. I was going through the kind of preview for the day and looking at the different teams and checking out stats and kind of what was the story coming into it. The terrifying thing about Heroic is their 3 big fraggers this stage, Sloth, Gorgona and Benja, are plus 55 on KD and plus 18 on entry collectively between the 3 of them. Not a single player is negative out of those 3 in both stats. They are just lighting up the scoreboard day after day after day. And on the other side, we've seen Cryin have arguably the best stage we've ever seen him have. Sure, ill lately, didn't put on a good performance the other day. I think he went like 5 and 8, where normally he'd go like 12 and 4 or something ludicrous. And Kanto went 1 and 9 when he's also been having a phenomenal stage. So those 2 have got to show, but then you also need to see someone else join the limelight. You've got to see Deepek, the new boy they brought in, also really step up. Because I look back to some of their earlier games in this stage, Deepek was the instrument of destruction for this team. If they were at a bit of a stalemate, they couldn't get past the setup, he would be the guy that would grab it by the horns and just charge on in, try and kill 2 or 3 people and march through with a round win off the back of that alone. So we know the raw materials are there. It's just about how good and how efficient the production line is in turning this into a real killing machine. We'll find out now as Chalet is back underway. Of course, as you saw, it is Rogue starting out on the defensive side, so that machine may have to wait a little bit longer. I'm very excited to see how this shakes up in the first 6 rounds.
Got Rogue with their trademark fist bumps to the camera. Just the mental reset. We've spoken to them about it before. If you're wondering,
I know what some people in the chat are like, cringe, cringe, who fist bumps a camera, cringe.
If you're wondering what's going on there, it's just a bit of an exercise to just, it's like drawing a line. Yeah, it's just drawing a line. It's like, whatever's gone's gone. Obviously, the game hasn't started yet, but the intention there is just like fresh page, right? This is it. In we go. And it just breaks sort of any mental pattern that's been going on up to that point. We are loading in. We've got round 1. It's going to be up to the top floor. Master and Office. Rogue starts on the defence. And boy, if they've ever wanted a good start, if they've ever wanted a big first half, it's going to be now. We saw a Rogue team at the back end of 2021 and at the start of this year that really developed, that really got themselves some momentum, that really turned things around from the tough year that they'd had up to that point. There's been changes, but can they continue that momentum? This is the first step in doing so.
Right, well, enough buttering it up. We'll no doubt layer on plenty more hype as the game progresses. Round 1 is practically underway, and starting things off safe, you got Leon jumping across and playing straight away onto that Warden Tim. We spoke about it earlier on today, spoke about and commented saying, in case you're fearful of something like a Ying being rolled out in round 1, it's a safe way of doing it. Leon straight up at the window. Can't find the man. C4, I think I got shot. Oh, no! How did he get through? I thought he got shot out, but no! Connects and gets the opener, rips away, and a slither of HP. Welcome to the last Playday, Grizzly. Enjoy your stay.
I think that gives you a good idea of exactly the sort of aggression we're going to see out of Rogue. Not only did Leon go for the spawn peak, he doubled down and launched the nitro out of there as well. Deepek's going for the run, but no! The Claymore gets ripped. Gorgona gets Deepek. It's all going wrong for Rogue. It's 4v3, 25 seconds in, and I don't know what's happening.
What a read coming out the doorway and also going for the run out. Normally you expect one of the two, but they go through both the garage and the entry doorway. Wonderful read. Claymore getting one, Gorg watching the other. That is a dream. Worth stressing, by the way, you can see how safely Heroic are playing this. They've got the Nomad on side, but they've also got 4 Claymores in back pocket, not forgetting a bunch of ops. Got 2 of those. Well, everyone who has them now has 2. That's what? 7 bits of anti-run out / anti-flank utility on side. They are really geared up for an aggressive Rogue today.
That's it. I'm just not sure that Heroic are going to be the team to try this against. Crying, he's going for that library window. He's looking for a peek onto the balcony. He's not going to find his man. A little bit of damage done, I think, but a little bit of damage taken as well. Leon just looking for the angle onto Solar Stairs there, also onto bathroom window. Needs to be careful, could find himself pushed from 2 angles at once. There's also the upside down rappel on Solar window. It's too easy. Too easy for Leon as he takes Sloth down. That's the Iana gone. He's going back in for more. He fancies the peak. He needs to be careful. There's the upside down rappel on Solar window. There could be a cheeky little angle here for the Ibana of Uno.
Oh, the timing gets shot by both as well. One from the upside, one from the downstairs. They do collect Leon, but he's done a lot of damage up there on the north side, Tim. Now Crying, the man who we spoke about, been quiet for a couple of weeks, is looking to step back into his grave, assume the position that Leon was playing. That aggression, you can just feel it, Tim, in all the movements they're making and what they're going for, but it's worthless unless you can find a kill. Kanto hits the deck. Gorg quietly finding a 3k in the round. Can't find nothing. Heroic with round 1.
Gorgona very patient on that piano window, out there for the longest time. They were just holding that angle, waiting for the moment, and ultimately it was Kanto who showed his back, and it was them who showed him the death for the round. And 1-0 Heroic as Rogue, they come out and try to send a message, but Heroic, it's message received, it's message understood, and it's a message returned.
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if they've had this read themselves of, look, this team's going to come out with full bottle, really intending to get aggressive and find the first few rounds on the board here to catch us off guard. So bringing along those Claymores, the Nomad, all of it, again, just really respectful. Even down to Benja playing on the Blackbeard, which we didn't even have time to talk about. But again, it just screams safety to me from start to finish. This C4.
Just have the replay of the C4 going out. Sloth had taken a chunk of damage as well, but Heroic, they've shown throughout the stage, they're not rattled by a play like that. They will just dig in, they'll find the round, and they are a really, really strong team inside of EUL at the minute, and honestly, I'm not sure that these tactics will work from Rogue over a prolonged period of time. I think it's maybe... I'm just sort of hoping they recognise it quickly enough and that they can get back to the drawing board and think, right, we need to do this differently because, you know, this isn't necessarily going to work here.
Quite maybe, but look at Deepak here, now really looking to go quite aggressive and cheeky out here. I can just see a world where he gets himself stuck on the rotate on the pull back in and loses his life for it. Here he goes in the push up. No way does that work! Oh my. Okay, Leon from one round into Deepak the next. Gets poor Grizzly. He's been C4'd, he's been spawn peaked. He's not having a good time.
Grizzly doesn't know what's going on Chalet so far, but he knows that luck is not with him. Gorgona's going to be opening up that bar window. It is a bar and gaming site, of course. I'm going to look to apply a bit of pressure directly to site, but there's going to be more work that needs to be done by Heroic. I haven't seen the setup on the top floor as of yet, but I'm guessing Rogue are going to have at least 2 or 3 up there. They're going to be trying to hold on to Library and Mezzanine particularly, and Heroic, they're going to need to do something about clearing that out.
All right, well, down a man, but still not deterred. Heroic on their march forward ever so slowly here. Bar Gaming is decided as a reminder, so good chances are they want to get this top floor control, put Gorgona to work on the sledge, which is interesting, by the way, because when Benja joined this team, he took away the soft breach role away from Gorgona, who used to be the go-to buck player, would play a little bit of sledge here and there, whereas Benja came in and was the sledge player at the start of this stage. So here to see that small change away, where Benja's played Blackbeard, played the KB so far. He's stepping into more of that sort of flex role, whereas Gorg is assuming that spot of being the flex player, the soft breacher, sorry.
Right, we've got 2 on site for Rogue. We've got Leon out on Library Stairs, and then there's a little bit of top floor presence from Rips on Mezzanine. So before they can deal with either Rips or Leon, they've got to choose which one it's going to be, because once they remove one, the other one will naturally dip away. It looks like it's going to be Rips who is the target, but he just drops out the impact nade to keep his mirror window in place. He's going for it. That was an aggressive peek onto the man inside a library, but it's going to be the nade from Gorg to level things up. That's going to be 2 minutes into the round, 4v4, and vertical pressure should be in control of Heroic now. But no, Leon steps up and gets a kill, but it's immediately traded out. This is just going wild.
Benja's on the deck as well, 2 versus 2, Crying completing that kill. Now you can find a quick moment's pause because Heroic, they've got about 45 seconds to play. There's no big point of panic just yet, but Heroic have got the vertical, and that's what Rogue needs to be super careful of. I think Sloth has the right sort of idea, but passing each other like two ships in the night. They won't see each other just yet as we get to that last 30 seconds.
I think the bulletproof camera had just been missed by a Sloth there. It was almost a surprise to him as he looked round, you know, a bit of utility there, better clear it out, but I'm going to have Crying and Kanto. Kanto's in an interesting spot here, top of main stairs. He could be a real nuisance, could hit him on the flank. It's not going to be needed though. Crying steps out and gets a big double. Anything in this round that you expect, anything in this map that you think is likely to happen, we are going to see the opposite. I did not for 1 second think Leon was just going to head up library stairs into library and start with a direct challenge. You would have expected him to potentially try to hold the middle level of library stairs or maybe drop back to site. But no, they are just going full send on this.
The scary thing was he was being called by DeKB. Literally through the doorway to his right-hand side, there was a player from Heroic that either didn't hear him or just assumed, I don't know, sound's being a bit weird, he's not there, it's okay, no problem. Turns out he was there. Gets himself a freebie, could have turned it into a second if he wasn't so quick to try and run away. But equally, why would you expect to be surrounded by 2 players and not be losing your life at that point? Can completely forgive Leon for it altogether. But 1-1. Nice, interesting start to the 2 rounds that we've had, as now we head down for afters, Tim. We're going down into Kitchen. Heroic again looking to run much the same lineup as we've sort of seen from them earlier on. Benja now going back to being the go-to soft breach player, whilst Gorgona goes back onto something we've seen him playing a lot more lately, which is going to be that Zofia.
Here we go then, round 3. Our Rogue, the big question for me at the minute is, do Rogue bring that same intensity? We've seen them have 2 peaks at the beginning of the first 2 rounds, both successful. Are they going to go for it again? Surely they don't get away with it another time, but those are the famous last words, I think. You know, you say something like that and it's almost nailed on that they're going to find an opener, but Deepek, he is getting a little bit sort of out there. He's getting a bit loosey-goosey down in the basement, but he's not going to be getting quite as aggressive this time.
Okie dokie. How things start to stack up from this point on. I mean, looking on the side of Rogue, you've got things like the Malusi, the Alibi, want to get a bit aggressive with those potentially as well. Thankfully for Grizzly, he is alive 30 seconds into the round. It is a little bit of a different story this time, Tim. We're not going to see the 3rd round in a row death for him. I just would... Oh, I tell you what, if that was the wrong man, I would have cried. Oh, Benja! Just built different. 2 kills, Rips Crying gone. That's the kind of start Heroic won.
Massive start for Heroic there, and barely moving his feet. Benja, the first absolute beauty off a bit of information, and the second through a barricade. He doesn't even need to see enemies at this point. He just knows, and he's going to find himself another, surely. Honestly. Yes, that's a triple, and he's barely even moved. Benja, once he moves into the map, could be a danger for a potential ace here. Deepek's going upstairs for a little look, but I tell you what, you want to be careful going anywhere near Benja. Uno's going to take the ace away as he finds the kill onto Leon, but staring down the barrel of a flawless round here.
Yeah, Deepek's left to do it all. And I know all I said about him in the pre-game. I know I picked him up, but it's just not going to happen. Benja at 4K. Rogue running into him like a meat grinder there as well. Just one after the other. A comfortable closeout. And Heroic get round 3. And that to me is a stark reminder to Rogue. This is not going to be... You might have the momentum. You might have the energy. You might have the bounce. That doesn't mean nothing when you're coming up against the biggest team in the league.
Not at the moment, it doesn't. Benja with a very solid 4K there to push Heroic over the line in what was a pretty easy, flawless round for them. And Rogue, like you say, they just need... And I said this in the last round, beginning of the last round, I'm concerned about them just keep throwing themselves at Heroic. I know they're trying to be unpredictable, they're trying to have the energy, they're excited, they're ready to go, they want to get that major spot, but they need to be careful about throwing it away as well. They don't want to do that. They don't want to just keep pouncing into the lines of sight of people like Benja.
Well, Heroic have done 33% of the job that G2 have slid some money to them on PayPal for. 6 rounds is what they're looking for. If they get to that point, again, Rogue then cannot make it. So really 4 rounds Rogue have got left here to lose. That's all they can afford to give away. And giving away, looking at that last round, is probably exactly how I'd describe it. Maybe even the first one as well. It was a good aggressive attempt, but Heroic were just all too ready.
Going to be Master and Office this time around. We saw Heroic take this site back in the first round. It was all about the window angles mostly. Uno getting the kill from solo window. We saw bathroom window, piano window put to good use, and it's something that Rogue are certainly going to need to be aware of this time. They need to think about the angles that they are exposing themselves to and just making sure they're not giving anything away too easy. Rips has got a little bit of HP missing, but that's because he's on the Oryx. He's been creating rotations, so not the end of the world there. Benja straight down to Snowmobile Garage. He's going to open up that soft wall, start with the drone in, and look to move in from the basement and possibly work his way up. Rips is sort of toying with the idea of getting down there, but for the time being, he moves back up those West Main stairs.
I'd feel so exposed as crying here. Like, surely that drone saw him. Surely.
He's come down the stairs. It must have done.
Surely. I mean, he didn't shoot it, so did he feel it just didn't see him? Like, either this is a massive slip-up by Heroic or Cryan's got a perfect read, and I'm not quite sure. Already a bit of rotations coming back through, though, after Sloth has found Rips there. Down he goes, Deepek trading it back. The slider of last round, Benja with a 4K, is off the board.
Deepek's been doing great work down in the basement. We've seen the run out, we've seen the kill down there, hunting down Benja, taking out the sledge, and it's been perfect from him so far, and he's had a couple of good weeks, to be fair, as Deepek, and it's certainly not stopping, but Leon's going to be stopped as Sloth finds him with a nade from underneath, just given too much space there, Sloth. He's going to continue working the angles through into kitchen dining and just seeing now if he can get anything going up through that hatch.
They've got that north side control, which is what they're looking for, really. Control of Master and Office, or at least, Solarium, has been established, and you can see where this attack is coming in from. Perhaps the scariest part for Rogue is that they don't have the downstairs control either. Very quickly, Heroic have got full control of all they need to make a push work here. They can just keep on forcing them back, playing those angles. They've got the Claymores dotted around as well. All these things to keep them safe, and it feels like Heroic are slowly starting to contain the madness that is Rogue a little bit.
Just trying to hold those long angles through on that mid-floor Deepek here, but he's going to have to make his way back upstairs. Heroic have got the site here, as there's only 2 left alive, and they're both underneath. They're trying to deny from beneath, but I don't think they're going to be able to. Uno's getting the diffuser down, but it's not there, Kanto. He's looking, he's searching, but he can't find. Deepek's going to find himself downed. He manages to get a kill, but it's going to be 3v2. Nate coming down, making life difficult.
Oh my!
Drop. I'm not sure what Sloth's doing there, but he gets himself one before being taken out. Uno manages to get the last, and that's going to be Heroic 3-1 now, and this is slowly but agonisingly starting to slip away from Rogue.
Oh, it is going that way ever so slightly. I mean, the 3 rounds that Heroic have won, we've had a Gorg 3K, a Benja 4K, now we've got a Sloth 4K. It's like collecting Pokemon cards at this point, Tim, and it's still going to keep on going that way. Now, I'm not expecting to see every player on the team step up and get multi-kills like that. We did say earlier on that these 3, the names I've just gone through, are the ones that have gone massive. Plus 55 KD joint across the stage, plus 18 on entry, all 3 players positive in both stats. They've just been absolutely smashing it, and so are they doing in this game. Rogue calling that time out here. They need to get something in the defense. This map is generally attack-leaning, and many teams would say, look, you should be doing better on the attack than on the defense, but Rogue should feel confident they can get at least something here, and the over-aggressive play isn't working. The slightly slower play that we saw in that round just then isn't working, which is why they've now got to figure something out and get some new ideas on board.
Meepu busy talking away, I think, during that tactical timeout. Not much coming from the players there, so it is all going to be coming from the coach as to exactly what he has seen going on, what he thinks can be changed, what he thinks can be different. And I'm interested to see in round 5 here, what sort of level of aggression do we see out of Rogue? Is that going to be the change? Is it going to be, let's revert back to sort of, not a passive style, but let's just chill out on getting right up in the faces of Heroic, because it ain't working at the minute.
We've had a real habit of meeting Meepy on constant flights back, especially
every time we're in an airport, I expect to see Meepy.
He's always just there at some point.
It's always pleasant. We always sit and have a nice chat.
He's a delightfully wonderful man with a fantastic brain for the game. And I think we had a chat with him, and he said you don't want your boys too low, but you also don't want them too high in terms of energy, because if they're too high, things get a little bit crazy, a bit jittery, things go wrong. You always want them in the middle where there is pressure, but everyone's still kind of on board and doing the right sort of thing. And that's where you've got to have that reset between rounds. I wouldn't be surprised if he stepped in there and kind of said, okay, we came in super high to this game. We've gone really low as things have kept on going wrong for us. Boys, back to how we've done this before now. Settle things down, get your heads back in the game.
Mental game is absolutely by far and away
not
the
again.
most important element for Rogue. Here, there, that's not going to be an ideal start as the aggression continues. Deepek trying to find his man, but that Aruni punch hole there's, it's just a beacon from anywhere on the map. As soon as a hole that size opens up, you know she stood on the other side of it. And Benja, he's not going to miss his shots on an opportunity like that.
Is he naff? Far too easy for him there, yes. I guess for Deepek, he would like, okay, why would someone still be looking at this doorway now? Good question. Well, either way you look at it, you've lost your life as a result. Uno, on the upside down rappel, trusting someone's running just down through the hallway, which they were. Kanto, he's got to be so careful here. There is someone outside the door, sure, well, outside the window, sorry. He must know about the likelihood of someone playing there. For Benja, it's too easy.
That is too
We've
easy.
been here before. Will he find himself a third? I'm sure that he can. Kanto, oh, it's so close.
The thing is, he doesn't need to. It's 5v3. He doesn't need to get overly aggressive on this. Benja, he knows the challenge is likely to come in from two angles, but he can do nothing about it as Rips manages to get that kill. Brings us back to 3v4 for Rogue, and that's 3v3. Another great kill from Rips, but an immediate trade from Sloth leaves us 3v2, and another flurry leaves us at the mid-round with only 5 players remaining.
It's just one of those again where every time you feel like you've got something on Heroic, they've just got an answer. There's someone watching a flank. There's someone ready to step into their shoes and take the trade. And it took Rogue a bit of time to set up that 2 versus 1 into Benja, which, yes, they came out on top of, but still lost a man off the back of it. Sloth hits the deck into a frost mat. That's the kind of thing that you want to see. I don't know if Rogue will have heard that one, given the 2 players are so far away, but at least for now, it's a 2 versus 2.
That's it, even Stevens in this round with 1 minute left to go. Grizzly is indeed, but with the look that Grizzly's had so far today, he needs to be careful. I wouldn't expect him, you know, it wouldn't surprise me to see a little peek come in there, but no, Grizzly gets away with it. Sloth finds himself back onto 20 HP and ready to fight in the round again. Kanto just opening up a very long line of sight there, and it looks like he's in for the duration inside of Dining. He's going to try to hold this down at distance, so it's going to be all up to Crying inside of sight. He's moving, he's ducking, he's dodging, he's weaving, he's trying to keep himself out of the lines of sight. He's trying to get something going, but it's not going to be easy. He sees the man, he can't find the headshot onto the Iana. The nade doesn't come down, and Crying going to dip himself back away. That could be big, that could be big, Des.
Finds the second as well. They're the 2 kills that you need, but Sloth finds Kanto. A 1 versus 1 breaks out. Who's going to win this one? 2 of the best fraggers we've got in the league coming up head to head right now. It's only going to come down to the 1 shot. Dipping away, it's Sloth, of course. Why wouldn't it be Sloth as they take round 5?
That was tense at the end there. Crying, such a great job from inside of sight. Gets the double, drops the diffuser, but just can't find the 3rd kill that he needs. And really, he just needs that bit of support from Kanto in Dining. If he can take Sloth out, if he can win that battle, then it is round done. And Rogue are only 1 behind, but as it is, that's all ifs, buts and maybes, because it didn't happen. And Heroic are 4-1 up, and as we suggested at the beginning of this, Heroic starting on the attack of Chalet is just proving to be too big an advantage for Rogue, and they are potentially going to have to climb back uphill from 5-1 down. G2, I'm sure, will be sat watching this cautiously optimistic. They know that these games can be turned around, but right now it's looking pretty good for Heroic, and it's looking pretty good for G2 fans.
We spoke about the need for players like Kanto and Crying to go big today, but also players like Deepek to step up and do the same. But the only big players we've seen so far have been on the other side. Sloth is 9-3. Benja is 8-3. He has been the demon of out on that balcony, just doing untold damage no matter who tries to swing him or peek him. He's just always ready. And Gorg silently sat at 4-2 as well after that 3K in round 1. There's just no stopping them, it feels like, at this point. But this is a round that Rogue need. They have a 1-for-1 record on the Bar and Gaming site. They get this. They have the 2-4 half. It's not the end of the world, but you've got to pull out some magic on the attack.
I'm just doing some quick maths.
Don't hurt yourself.
Benja and Sloth, 17 kills, more than the total of Rogue combined.
That is some nice quick maths from you there, Tim. Yeah, they're on 14, I think, by my count.
Oh,
7, 9,
yes.
11, 14. 14.
It paints a picture. It tells a story, and it matches up to what we're seeing on the scoreboard at the minute. Benja and Sloth have just been dominant so far. They've both had big multi-kill rounds. They've both had big moments. Sloth clutching that last 1v1 out, and certainly not an easy one for him to find. 5v5, we are still with everybody alive inside of round 6. It's going to be the final defensive round for Rogue. Benja, he's going to open it up as he has so many others with a headshot onto Rips.
By my measure, that's his 4th entry in a row. 3 of those coming from up on this balcony as well. Honestly, a demon. Doesn't matter what you throw at him, he just seems so comfortable there and being willing to challenge you at every single turn. And Rogue are almost not expecting it. It's been 3 rounds in a row now, boys, that has happened, yet there's still not the respect being paid to the fact that he will be on that balcony at about the 2-minute mark looking to challenge you.
Like you say, they just don't have an answer at the minute. Uno, he's going to find Leon. It really seems like things are going wrong for Rogue here. This is going to be over in quick fashion if this continues. Kanto, he's going to move around, taken down from Piano. He's just not ready for the man. Sloth plays him like a tune there. Deepak, he manages to find the nitro, and he's going for a second, but no, Sloth's in there. Sloth is the answer to all of the questions right now. Gorgona with the trade after Grizzly goes down, and that's going to be Heroic closing out a strong attacking half 5-1. Rogue, you better show us that Chalet is an attacker's map.
They've got to get 6. Well, they've got to get every single round now, Tim. 6 rounds in a row. 7-5. Rogue needs to win this game. Otherwise, Heroic, if they send it through to overtime or win,
doesn't matter.
Rogue will not get the points to jump into the top 4. They cannot make any mistakes. It has got to be flawless from this point forwards. And given how Benja and Sloth especially have played so far today, I'm not very confident.
I wouldn't be either. You know, the Rogue fans at the minute, I'm sure they're going to be sat there thinking that this is not looking good for them. Not looking good at all. Going to be round number 7, first attacking round for Rogue. And as you say, no more mistakes here. It's going to be kitchen and dining. Heroic are looking to hold on to. So we're going to see a top floor presence from them, I'm sure. Benja on the Malusi, I think, is going to be the sticking point for Rogue to begin with. I'd expect to see him up on that top floor more than likely. And he is not going to be easy to clear out with the way he's going so far today. 20 kills between him and Sloth.
It's just ludicrous. Honestly, ludicrous. And the thing is, we see them play here in EUL, and with how dominant they've looked this stage, I am ludicrously excited to see them on an international stage. Imagine what damage they can do.
Just playing for fun at the minute. It's like
scary.
It really is.
And the thing is, you know, Grizzly's not having a good game, right? He's 0-5. He hasn't had the best stage. He's bottom rated on this team. For the longest time, quietly in Challenger League, when they first made it into top tier, he was up there as the number 1 or the number 2 player on the team. So although he's had a quiet stage, he has changed roles a little bit as well. Things are adjusting for them, right? Not when you've got Benja and Sloth dropping 20 kills. What's left for you to get
exactly,
them?
you're fighting for scraps.
You're the man being C4'd on the rip just for a bit of fun. You're the sacrificial lamb.
You're the bait at that point.
You are.
You're just pulling them in and letting Benja and Sloth do their job, and I'm sure he won't mind in the slightest because it's all about the numbers at the very top of your screen. 5-1 now to Heroic, and that is exactly what this team are going to be focusing on. They're going to want to finish strong here because they really want to send a message out ahead of them going into the Charlotte Major. Rips, he's going to be getting himself onto mezzanine balcony. He's going to have an opportunity to open that wall. This is going to start the top floor clearance into office.
And Gore's got to be careful here. He's playing pretty tight to the breach as well. They've also laser gated off the left-hand side of this wall here, because normally you'd step just inside there and plant tucked into the right, for example, whereas now they've got to plant more on the left, which exposes you, unless of course you burn through the laser gate and the wall that's there, it exposes you to the rotate coming in from the bedroom side. So you're basically just more exposed to multiple angles. It makes life a little bit more difficult for you.
This is it, Rogue. They need to get that top floor control. Rips is going to open the wall into sight, which is going to be dining kitchen. Make sure...
I'm looking at the wrong side, aren't I? Beautiful.
We'll let you off. We'll let you off, Des. There's a lot of excitement going on. There's a lot of excitement going on, and that is a failed impact trick as well. They're going to get the exothermic off on the wall. That is now access into sight, and right now that is the sort of bit of luck that Rogue needs.
They need something magic from Leon on the offset here as well. He's got the 2 smokes, one coming out in deep here as well, but now where do they go? Now he's got it in the back pocket.
There's no vertical. They don't have the vertical.
Did the smoke just not go off? I saw him toss it, but I don't think it went off anywhere. Laser gate. Okay, it burnt through the laser gate. Fine. Thank you very much, Easy Mr. Observer. Sloth, what a surprise. It starts off with the killing. Now Leon working his way up. He's going to find Sloth in a trade. Not bad. But what can they do here? Step inside, shooting at the feet. They can't finish him off. But what about the vertical? Gork's still sat up there. But Leon on 1 HP has had to back away.
My big concern for them now is that vertical. But Kanto with another big kill. That's Benja and Sloth both gone. There's an opportunity for Rogue here. 40 seconds left to go. Big Deepex push is going to be important. important. He flashes himself, he goes in, he finds his man, but no, shut down with an immediate trade. 3v1 though, it's all up to Uno. Going to be difficult now. This should definitely be a rogue round. Leon is low health, does have diffuser in hand, needs to be careful that he doesn't drop it. Should he lose his life somewhere in no man's land, he should be safe in behind that Ossa shield. Uno's got to do something here, but he knows there's going to be cover, and there it is from Rips. Rogue, they get the first of 6.
Dicey, but they get the win regardless. Kanto finding Benja, I think, was the biggest kill there of all as well. Knowing the work that he's been doing, including Leon kind of working his way out to that door and getting Sloth in a trade. Good stuff. You've shut down the 2 Titans on that other side. Master and Office we're going to step into for this next site, so my comments about the laser gate could be correct if they are there this time, Tim. I imagine we'll see much the same. A focus coming in on the Office wall itself. A plant just inside. Away you go.
Rogue.
It's too early. Don't even talk. Just keep doing this. Cass, don't talk.
Rogue attacking on round 8. Going to be attacking onto that top floor. You know, I'm the eternal optimist. I will always find the positive in a situation, and Rogue have taken the first step on what is going to be a long journey, but it's always that first step that is the most important, as they've got themselves rolling, and now they just need to keep moving in that same direction. We're going to have the setup coming in. We've got the bulletproof camera inside the bookcase. We've got the shield. We've got the rotations being opened up into bathroom. It's all pretty standard from Heroic so far.
Yeah, nothing too exotic coming out for sure. One of the key changes maybe coming in is that you aren't seeing Leon playing on like the Ossa in this round or some of the weird flexi operator. He's now playing the Hard Breach, playing the Thermite, which is what Rips did in the last round. He's now gone instead to playing on the Lion. So they are expecting some aggression out and about around the map, and they would be correct as Ben just found his way into the basement and is waiting for someone to come and challenge.
The thing is, for Rogue right now, I don't want to lay it on too thick, but one moment could stop them going to the major. That's the reality now. Benja down in basement, hitting him on a flank and getting 2 kills, for example. That's it. That could be job done. So Rogue have to get, not just in terms of winning every round, they don't have any wiggle room within the round. They can't afford that one simple mistake of missing somebody in basement, of missing somebody on a drone. It could be catastrophic for them. Deepak, he's going to open up the window onto Office balcony. Ryan does manage to get Benja, and that is what I'm talking about. Rogue, you've got to come out. You've got to 100% this now. You've got to hit everybody. You've got to find everybody. You've got to win your gunfights, and that's a great start.
It is, yeah. It gives them a bit of control because he was the main man, like roaming off down to the south, doing a little bit of trouble. Oh, Rips! What a flick onto Gorg as well. Not the biggest flick you'll ever see, but a critical one, because now it's a 5 versus 3. You retain control of the balcony. This is everything you needed to start looking towards and execute now. That wall's got to open up, and they've still got 100 seconds to play with, Tim. That's tons of time to make this work.
Absolutely, plenty of time, Des. 7 drones left. There are no excuses for Rogue on this round. Really, they should be winning this from here. They need to just take the time, get the drones in, see who is where, what utility needs to be cleared, and then they can start picking people apart. Grizzly, he's going to be chased down after that E1D scan. It gave him the information, but he only takes a tickle of damage and manages to get away.
They're being impeded by a single mute jammer here that they still haven't got someone in below to nade out. I think that's what Crying's doing now. Wonderful timing. It's as we say it. Please don't kill your friendly drone on the way through. But with that cleared away, that'll be the wall getting opened up by the Thermite in no time at all, and they can start looking forwards. But Rips catching Grizzly on the jump out as well. The Guardian of the balcony is taking after Benja's name and doing some work out there. Uno snapping one back, last 50 seconds, and it's all down to Sloth and Uno.
Sloth is all alone now as Crying manages to get Uno, but he gets 1. That's 1 of 4 that he's going to need. 3 more to find. Leon, Kanto, Crying can play this carefully. 35 seconds is an absolute age for Sloth to hold on here. He's got the Vector, which is not a bad weapon to be doing this with. He gets 1. He nearly gets the second, but nearly is not good enough. Kanto going to shut him down in piano, and that is going to be another round for Rogue. 5-3 now.
I could just see Sloth getting those 2 kills and making it a 1v1, and we've already seen what it's like when Sloth's in a 1 versus 1 against someone on lower HP. Think back to his 1 versus 1 down in Bar and Gaming against Crying. Sloth was 10 HP, Crying about 70, and Sloth still won that fight out. Heroic though, they've seen enough. They've seen 2 rounds of things going south and go, right, boys, time for a bit of correction. Because this is something else I was talking about on social media about a week ago. It's really for Heroic. They've got a reputation to protect him. They don't want to see this one going by the wayside and go, well, we had a great stage, but we lost the last Playday. No, you want to go into the major saying, we have beaten basically everyone there is to beat. We took as many points as we could. We are dominating. You don't want to be going there with, well, Rogue came in as the 4th seed, but they did beat Heroic on the last Playday, because then you're not the star of that story. Rogue would be, Heroic need to close it out.
Winning's a habit. Winning is a habit, and for Heroic, they want the last game before they go into the major. They want to sit down at that first group stage game, coming in hot, coming in on a win, coming in on a solid performance. That's what they want. They don't want to be thinking back to a difficult last day in EUL, to a difficult last day that saw teams catapulted into a mess in the mid-table, with round difference deciding who goes through, which is exactly what we could be facing here. But Rogue, still work to be done. 5-3. They need to get 2 more rounds to level it up. They need to get 4 more rounds in a row to take themselves to Charlotte.
I just got a message from one of the Rogue staff members who earlier on was like, right, we've got a plan. We're going in there. We're hitting them hard. We're hitting them fast. It's going to be good. And then he just DM'd me after round 3 and said the plan was not to run into Benja one by one, as they unfortunately did. Now, of course, things have settled a little bit for Rogue here. 2 rounds in a row is going to start building a little bit of that confidence. But one thing I'm enjoying is I'm not seeing overconfidence. They're not acting like each round one is them winning an SI final, because they know in the next round there's still work to do. There's a lot still to fight back in. It is going to be difficult. It is going to be a slog, but at least they're on the way there.
That's the thing, and it comes back to what you said earlier about managing the energy. Just because you won a couple of rounds, there's a lot of work to be done yet. You don't want to get yourselves overexcited. You don't want to start throwing caution to the wind.
Nope.
You don't want to be going in there too aggressive. Heroic have already shown what will happen if you do that. They'll punish you. And so far, they've done a great job when they've got it on the attack of slowing down Sloth and Benja. That's the important thing. 20 kills in the first half between the two of them. They've now just been slowed down a little bit. They've got the brakes on, and Rogue are starting to get a little bit of a toehold here, but there is such a long way for them to go. Like I said, this is not about levelling up the score. This is not about getting to 5. Yep, that's the first milestone, but this is about going straight to 7. They have to... I don't know if we've seen... I think we've maybe seen 1 all stage, maybe 2 6-0 halves. That's how rare they are. And that's what Rogue are looking for. Not only are they looking for that, they're looking for it against the number 1 place team.
It's been the general summary of EU, although I think this stage especially is there hasn't really felt like there is, 2 dominating teams that no one else can catch up to, and it's just easy and clear cut on the last day. It has been a really even
been wide
season.
open. It's been absolutely wide open.
With a couple of exceptions towards the lower end of the table, sure, but otherwise you've seen teams battle back and forth. We were talking about M&M, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Torrid start to the stage. First 5 Playdays could not have gone any worse. Then they get 12 points in 4, winning all games. It's like, what?
That's it. Even that swapped around a little bit. The bottom teams, you'd have come in there and at the halfway point, you could have really been forgiven for thinking, yeah, M&M are definitely going to be in the bottom 2 come the end of this. But no, they've fought the way back. They've changed things up. They've got themselves into the mix at least. And it really has been one of those that's been, you've only got to look at our prediction rates of games. It's been a nightmare to try and really decide who is going to win, week to week between these teams, because there's just... The level of talent, the bar is so high. This stage, it's exceptional.
I really wish there's a way of we could look at this game and go, this team are just objectively doing this a million times better. Strategically, they're just there. But truthfully, a lot of it has come down to these big rounds.
Fine margins.
It's come down to clutches like Sloth 1v1. It's come down to the 3K, the 4K, and the 4K from Gorg, Benja, and Sloth, respectively. They just shut down some rounds that otherwise Rogue could have had a look in at. I think where things have been a bit more even, where it's not been about one player going absolutely nuclear, Rogue have generally looked a little bit stronger, I think a little bit more convincing. So almost for them, the key to success is finding those key players and just shutting them out of the round. Don't give them any way in. And admittedly, on the attacking side, that's going to be easier. When you got things like the Finker, which admittedly we don't in this game because it's banned away. But I remember speaking to Lycan, the coach of SSG, about this. And he was saying, the thing for the minute for defenders, lower damage guns, less range on them, generally inferior scopes. They're coming up against attackers who can kill you in 2 or 3 bullets. They're juiced up by a Finker. They're being healed after the fight by a Finker as well. It's just so overwhelming against defenders in most cases, which is probably why in those last 2 rounds, you haven't seen Sloth and Benja doing the same things they did in the first half. They are playing with the slightly weaker guns overall. And that's why you see things like the MK14 being so popular on operators like Aruni. They do pack a real punch.
You're just trying to sell that DMR.
Oh, mate, look, trust me, I'm taking recruits for the Church of MK14 1.5X.
To be fair, I did give it a little go, and I can't say that you're wrong.
Yeah, you did all right, mate, you did.
Can't
I
say
saw
that
it on
you're wrong.
stream, 2 or 3 kills in that next round. I was like, yep, he's in there.
That's it. I can't say that you're wrong.
We all worship our Saints, Super Onigiri, who I believe dropped 27 kills, playing it pretty much exclusively.
Certainly did.
That we don't have a Bible, we just have the replay of that game where he dropped 27 kills with the MK14.
And a fair replay it would be as well. We're going to get this technical issue sorted out as quick as we can, and we'll have everybody back into the server and continue the game on, shall we? It currently sits 5-3 if you've joined us very recently and you don't know what's going on. It's 5-3 to Heroic at the minute, and Rogue are in a situation where if they want to qualify for the Charlotte Major, they have to get all the rounds that are remaining. They need a 3-point win. It doesn't matter what the scoreline is. Nothing else matters to Rogue other than 3 points. It is as simple as that. 3 points, you go to Charlotte. Anything other than 3 points, you don't, and G2 go. It's not looking good for them at the minute. There's a lot of work to be done, but they're on the road at least.
Absolutely. I've just had to check social media again, and BDS are naturally smack talking G2 already.
Why wouldn't they be?
I mean, they're still in it for now, guys. God, it's like,
Why wouldn't they be?
ease up, man. This is what, again, I know we keep on saying it, but genuinely, the build up to this last day over the last 2 or 3 days or so has been very...
I love the chaos of the last day. I absolutely live for it. For me, I never support anybody on the last day. You know, we all have our favourites in terms of teams and teams that we like to watch, we enjoy
Casters
watching.
are not biased, Tim.
Not within the cast, but, you know, we all have teams that we enjoy watching. You know, we love the esport as much as everybody else, otherwise we wouldn't do the job we do. But
true.
Ultimately, I come into the last day and I don't care who goes to the major. I'm just here for the entertainment of it. And, you know, if it's like, right, this team's the outsider, right, let's get a win for them. Let's get some points on the board there. Let's mix it up. Let's get a few teams on the same values. Let's, you know, have all that shakedown of just exactly who's going to win on round if. Is it going to go to a mini league? Is it going to, you know, I just love the excitement of it all. I really do.
I think it was Gogo who popped up earlier asking, I'm confused, how didn't this work? Like, because surely G2 won the head-to-head, it wouldn't matter if Rogue won. For those who aren't aware, we did change slightly how tiebreakers work. You always have round difference first as the primary influencer, then you have the head-to-head and so on and so forth, until eventually you do get to rematches and mini-leagues and all the other wonderful, confusing things that can happen sometimes. But now that we're in a spot where you don't get draws anymore, things do tend to end pretty swiftly at that head-to-head point, unless 3 teams are tied where they've kind of beat each other in a triangle, and things can get wonderfully complicated. Not for us to go into now, for sure. I think if nothing else, to be fair, this break is probably really good for Rogue. It gives them a chance to kind of reset again, rebalance, get things back on track once more. For Heroic, I don't think it has that much of an impact. They'll just kind of reset back to their resting state, which for them is clearly fantastic given how the first half went.
That's it. I mean, it's really not going to be the end of the world. You know, it's really not going to be the end of the world for Heroic. At the end of the day, they were never really playing for anything anyway. As we said, it's all about keeping momentum for them, having the win going into the major and just keeping themselves on top of things, nice and active. I can see it from the other side for Rogue as well. I can see the potential problem that they've built that bit of momentum after a couple of rounds, and now they've just had 5 minutes to sort of go cold a little bit. It's not going to be ideal, but they're giving the fist bumps to the camera, so I'd imagine we're going to see them loading in pretty soon.
I watched them one by one, like, who hasn't done it? And crying was the last one. I was like, crying, fist bump the camera, and he did do it in the end, so we're all good. We are all checked in, the players are in, we're back in, and we're ready to roll once again with round 9 straight away. Deepek flying over to an interesting pick that I want to know is going to stick or not. Given we're on the Master and Office site, it's the one to bring it, I think, to be honest with you, Tim, unless you feel really cheeky trying to come up into, say, kitchen and dining, come up through the basement hatch, for example. This could be getting cheeky through Master Window.
This is it. We've seen the Amaru brought along a few times and not really used, to be honest. I think sometimes it's more just the threat of it. It's more just knowing for the defenders that there is the potential there. I mean, we're seeing Deepek changing it away straight away. Obviously, the defender's not going to be aware of that. It's going to be the book that gets brought along, which is going to give an opportunity potentially for Deepek to go in underneath, get himself into kitchen dining, open up the floor beneath them a little bit, and just see if he can get them moving around there instead.
All right, well, by the looks of it, that Amaru is sticking. We are seeing the A step away instead and be bringing along a Zofia, which makes me a little nervous because, Tim, what did I say at the very start? I was talking about old Rogue in Stage 3, how they bring no hard breaches and just run at you. It makes me nervous, but they're going to stick it. There's no hard breach on this team, which means they aren't going through the main wall. In fact, this almost looks like the perfect bait because Heroic, reading how they attacked it last time, have electrified this wall. They've got a mirror here. They're really digging down. So what are Rogue doing? Committing everything on solo side and just going ham with that Amaru.
Well, it's a roll of the dice, Des. You know, that's the best way that I can put it. And I think it feels like it's going to be one of them that you either come up with, you know, a double one or a double six. It's going to be all or nothing. I really can't see much of an in-between here. We're going to have this double window opened up. We know how powerful this angle is. Leon's going to cut the site in half and prevent too many runouts. But look at that. Oh, early aggression coming out from Heroic. Sloth going wild. And within 45 seconds, it is all down to rips. We've got everybody dead on the side of Rogue. The round was over in under 50 seconds.
Well, anticlimactic is one way to put it, but with that round loss, Heroic do confirm that G2 are the ones going to the major, and Rogue, sadly, will have to sit this one out.
And that's not going to do any good.
That was so anticlimactic, man.
It's not going to do any good for them. There was just a flurry. I think Heroic just decided to take the same pressure and aggression that Rogue tried in the first half, and they just went out of doors, windows. There was obviously jump outs there that got them a couple of kills. There was somebody who lost their life whilst doing it, but ultimately, Heroic, they came out on top. They were 1v3. It was up to rips. It was always going to be tough, and
Heroic giveth, Heroic taketh away.
And Rogue whimpereth out of stage one.
They do, but the one thing I do want to say for Rogue, and this is not at all trying to kind of act like they're dead and they're done, they're never coming back again, but there's been really promising sides for Rogue. For a team that I think many coming into the stage were saying, okay, you've lost Prano, Aces is gone. This team is a shell, right? You're picking up Kanto hasn't played for a good while, you're relying on Crying to be your entry, Deepek's unproven at this level, you're going back to Leon as your IGL, like it's not going to be a good stage for them. They have had a good stage, just these last 3 play days are going to be days to forget.
There's a lot of positives for Rogue to take away, and I hope that they do. I hope that they don't focus too much. I think it's difficult sometimes. You know, you get into this situation where you not necessarily unexpectedly, because they will have believed the whole way that they were going to, you know, potentially make it to the major, but I think, you know, you get to that point and it sort of all becomes about that, rather than actually, back at the beginning of stage one, we might have just said this is a pretty new roster and we need to cement everybody together, and I think that's something they've actually accomplished really well. And going into stage 2, stage 3, I think they're going to be a very strong team, so I hope that Rogue can sort of focus on that, rather than just focusing on, we didn't make the major at the last minute. Like, that's, to me, not the sort of, you know, it's not everything.
It's not, no. But Heroic here, they want to finish with a flourish here, and that's a great way to start. The hard breach are gone. A real kick, because you need that thermite in this round, getting traded out by Deepek, playing on the downstairs. But again, for Heroic, I think a strong finish here is a good way to go and go into that major and say, right, you might all look at Europe and say, oh, one of the weaker regions, you know, NA, LATAM on top, even down one here from APAC North, who won't be at the major, by the way. They've all fallen by the wayside. You know, Europe kind of falls down to the bottom. No, not this time round will be Heroic's statement to the world, and this is a way to really show it, is to get a very clean closeout here in what could be the last round.
That's it. There's going to be a few new teams, a few new faces.
Oh, I can't wait.
The major teams like W7M, who've sort of come out of nowhere. They've, you know, been threatening for the longest time, but then they've made the changes they needed, and they've really come through with a flourish. And you've got teams like FaZe, who, you know, are established teams that we would expect to see there, but will not be the case. And as you say, Damwon Kia, another one that is, you know, all credit to them becoming a face that we expect to see at the majors, but just haven't made it through this time. But it's going to be fascinating. We're going to have some teams who have struggled to get there recently. Teams like G2 now confirmed, and confirmed dead is going to be Leon, as Grizzly manages to get the kill. 4v3. Heroic are racing on towards closing this one out.
They are indeed, yeah. 3 versus 4 now, stepping on the way forward. Grizzly collecting a kill, by the way. May well be one of his first in the game, given his team have taken so many from him in prior rounds. They've got to recover the diffuser here and try and look towards what the execute could possibly look like as we're into that final 50 seconds or so, and Heroic looking unmovable at this point.
Kanto just trying to find an angle at the minute, trying to get a look onto anybody, but right now Heroic have just dipped back a little bit. They're not playing this too aggressively. You know, he's going to get a shotgun blast from underneath. He nearly goes for a second. He's going to be shut down by Kanto on the reverse angle, but the damage was largely done. 3v2 now, and Heroic, they can just play the angles here. They can just hold on, and they can they've got a man upstairs, actually. They've still got the vertical. This is not looking good for Rogue with 20 seconds to go.
It's not, no. Still a lot of work to do. Kanto with the diffuser in hand. They can't get through the wall as the Heart Breacher died early. Undroned on the main stairs. Sloth finds one. It's going to be that flourish that we spoke about. And it's Sloth to close it out. Why wouldn't it be? Heroic more than demonstrating why they deserve first place in the European League heading into Charlotte.
And that is it. The top 4 are now locked in. Not just the top 4, but we have all of our 16 major competitors, and we can start looking forward with excitement to that event coming up in just a few short weeks. We've got another game to go, so, you know, we've got some more entertainment to come. We've yet to see exactly how EUL finishes off for stage 1, but the important top 4, they're locked in.
That's what it really comes down to. And I cannot wait to see how these teams perform going into that major, knowing there's a crowd there as well, on LAN for the first time for many of them too, because take Kavana for a while. They were Kavana, sorry. Heroic, when they qualified in, it was in the middle of COVID. They couldn't go to a LAN and play there and deliver it to this sort of level. But maybe their time is now on the way.
Certainly could be. And I tell you what, we don't have to wait long to find out, Des.
Just a couple of weeks. So we're done with this game for now. We'll go to a quick break. And when we come back, the desk will break it down for you.